What security forces did?
Damn right.
They duct taped me. Like, what?
Yeah.
What is this? Is that madness?
You gotta think. We're just going with the flow.
That'll be good for later.
Yep.
I'm definitely gonna get some more. All right now.
I want to thank you guys for coming out, first of all. I've been up for about 40 hours. So Jeter, wherever he went. Actually, I think he's been up for about 3 more hours than I have. He couldn't do it. He couldn't sleep in. So, thank you guys for coming out, taking time out of your day, out of your night to do this. It's gonna be a long haul. The night's gonna play tricks with you. I'll tell you that. It's gonna be cool, but you're only gonna be able to see just that little bit in front of you, except for street lamps for here and there. My main basic, I've got 2 big rolls of this. You see all the weights over there? It stays in a ruck on the ground. It never rides in the truck whatsoever. Even if you're like gonna hop on the back and try to swap weights out with somebody, negative. You do it on the road. You do it on the walk. Pull your bag around front, unzip it, whatever, walk backwards, face them, whatever you gotta do. It does not ride in the truck. None of these officers are gonna ride. Every one of them gets every step of every mile, okay? They gave their life for their country, for their county, for their city, for their community. I think they deserve that. They deserve every step we can give them. So, the other thing is I've got 3 flags over here. One of them is the flag with the names, all of the names of the officers.
You are getting ice right now?
That one always stays on the ground. The others, they can go in the back of the truck. It's not about those flags. It's not about our emblem. It's not about that. It's about the officers, their names, and their story. And every one of their names is on that flag. Okay, so that one stays going. All of these weights, I've put their name with the agency they work for, their end of watch date, and their cause of death. On the other side, it has their picture with the patch that was on their sleeve whenever they died. Okay, I did that to I want this to be personal. I want you to know that you've got a person. You are rucking for Lieutenant Mark Lamont Meacham. This is more than just a weight. This is mine. He's in your pack. You're carrying it. In addition to that, I've printed out all of their bios right here. This goes into the details about how long they were on, how old they were, how long they were on tour of duty, where they worked, what kind of call they were responding to, who they left behind, their wife, husband, kids. We've had several legs where they're reading these things. We've got somebody sit in the back of the truck and read them to the group that's currently rucking. And it's to that point where it's like, 3 months later, their baby girl. They left their families to go protect their community. Last time they left. So I want to encourage y'all to read these, whether you're rucking, pull out one of these folders, start going over them, get to know who's in your pack, get to know their story. They've got a story just like you got a story, just like I have my story. So make it personal, make it mean something. I don't want this to just be another ruck. I want it to have an impact. I want whenever your feet are hurting, it could be like, man, I remember you. I remember that. I remember this. I want the pain to make it stick. With that being said, you guys are going to have to work as a team. Nobody here is a hero. When it comes to doing something that you believe in, you're going to push harder than you should. But what's going to happen is everybody's going to continue to push. Next thing you know, everybody's falling out at the same 10-mile mark. And we've got nobody else to ruck. Think ahead. Go ahead and have, whether you schedule teams to do 5 on, 5 off, riding in the truck, and then whenever they start getting tired, swap out, or go ahead and before they get tired, swap out every 3 miles. I don't care. I need y'all to come together before we hit the road, talk about it. Because one thing we've learned is hitting the road and trying to talk about it out there whenever your feet are hurting, you're starting to get in a bad mood, you're starting to get a blister, you're not going to want to talk about it. So
Yeah.
go ahead, come together as a team, figure out a strategy before you hit the road.
Yeah, just then we hit like the 16-mile mark, and like 3 people were falling out, and I was carrying one person's weight and my own weight, and we were all alternating, having to carry someone else's weight. It was really slowing us down. So I think the best strategy would be 5 people sit in the truck, 5 people go for 3 miles, and then we just keep doing that, and we'll be golden.
So I gave everybody the hour by hour markers. If you're not hitting those, you're gonna have to step it up. One thing that happened on our last leg, we got to a point where we were jogging a light pole, walking a light pole, jogging a light pole, walking a light pole. We had to make it up. We weren't meeting our time hacks. This really started to wear the sun. I mean, every bit of this was in the sun on blacktop pavement in the Florida heat. It beat some people. They came through, they rallied together. I was so proud of this group, man. You should have seen them come together at the end. He's got a crazy blister on his foot. We had a 14-year-old come through with his 20 mile, or he beat it. The rules for it was 20 miles in 24 hours.
Good. Yeah, he definitely beat that one.
So he beat, by twice as much. So I was really proud of everybody. So go ahead, the little tip here. What?
MVP and
Yeah, I'll get to that.
Okay.
Little tip here, if you have smaller sacks to put these in, instead of just being loose in your bag, that way if you do have to swap off weight, you're either just swapping off your whole ruck, or you're just pulling one easy bag out of yours and slipping it into theirs. You have to start fishing for 10, 15, 20 weights. It's gonna get old. It's gonna take up some time. Whenever we get to the end, Relentless Defender, if y'all ever heard of them, they're a law enforcement apparel company. They provided 12 shirts. It's obviously not enough for everybody, but they're really good shirts. That's 2 per leg. So what we're doing, whenever we get to the end of the leg, everybody's going to vote on who they felt the MVPs were. The 2 people that carried the team, things wouldn't have went as smoothly if you didn't have their leadership. Whenever it comes to being in a team, you're either an asset or a liability. One of the 2. Be an asset. If you're falling out and you can't continue to ruck, get in the back of the truck, force water down people's throat. If they're starting to pass out, give them snacks, give them water. You can be an asset. Just because you're not on the ground doesn't mean you can't be an asset. There's more than one way to do it. Don't just sit back. Still be a team player. So whenever we get to the end, we'll take that up. The 2 people with the most votes for the MVP, they'll get to pick their 2 shirts out of the box. Keep your name tag that was on the blue pack that you were given with your shirt. At the end, that's a GoRuck GR1 26 liter. It's about a $300 ruck. Whenever you reach the end of your leg, you'll put your name tag in that ruck. At the end of leg 6, you're going to draw a name so you get to take it home with you. So don't lose it, keep it with you. As long as you make it to the end, you get to put it in the ruck.
you guys got it.
Are we,
Somebody have any questions? Yeah.
gonna walk so fast I have to run? Because I've got
Well, so then, if you're going to establish your teams, probably the best thing would get 5 people that are going to pace together, and the other team that's going to most likely pace together. Because if you get 2 teams of 5, and you got 3 that are hot rods and 2 that are classics, they're going to split, and that's going to cause some problems. So get your team together that's why I'm saying, we've got a little less than 15 minutes before we step off. Go ahead, be honest with yourself, be honest with your teammates. Don't be a hero. All it will do is hurt the team come mile 16, 17. And we're going to be really, really humping it. So come together, figure it out. I know he's got some advice.
Guys, we've done this the past 2 days. This is our fifth leg, okay? These guys have all done it the first leg. I suggested it last time, and we watched the military guys do it the second leg, okay? They were the most efficient. They cut 2.5 hours off their time, and I'll tell you how they did it. If you're not carrying weight, you need to be sitting. I know you don't want to sit. I know it looks bad on sitting, but I promise you, mile 10, mile 12, you're going to be glad you sat, because that person who says, oh, I'm going to hold the weight till mile 10, mile 12, I'm going to do it, that person's going to need to take a break.
You can go look at him. He's sitting in an ambulance right now.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. So you guys just need to be honest with yourselves, and when someone comes up to you and says, hey, give me the weight, it's kind of like, hey, they've been watching you for a while, hand the weight over, go sit down. And that just allows them to refresh. And the military guys were phenomenal in that, in the aspect of what they did is half the group sat in the car, half the group walked. They did 3-mile turns. Every 3 miles, they rotated. And doing it that way was the most efficient way. And they also broke it up into, the groups were broken down, just like he said, into a faster pace and a slower pace. That way the slower people, shorter legs, whatever, the faster people will, those guys that want to ruck and actually run with it, they'll make up the time difference. You don't have to worry about that. But what starts becoming an issue is when people don't want to hand up weight and they constantly say, I got the weight, I got the weight. Because what ends up happening is mile 11, 12, the ones who are asking for the weight now are forced to carry the weight at a heavier and a disadvantage because they're exhausted too. And that's happened twice now. And we just don't want to happen again. Okay, guys? If you have any questions, just let us know while you're doing it, and we'll be there.
Yeah, don't get offended if somebody goes to take your weight.
So we need to coordinate all this now.
Yes. Y'all need to come together, coordinate it.
Who wants to?